Wait for 1 minute. It's okay, right? We will start the class now. So in this module, we are going to see about law of tooth gearing. That is, we are going to see certain formulas. Using those formulas, we are going to solve the problem. Then we are going to see about the contact ratio, interference, and undercutting. Contact ratio means how many teeth, how many pair of teeth are in contact while two gears are messing with each other. Okay. Then at the end of the module, we are going to see about gear trains and problems based on epicyclic gear train. Gear train means combination of gears. That is called gear train. More than two gears, if they are connected together and they are transferring motion, means that is called as gear train. Okay. So, what is gear? First of all, gear out of wheels after the uses of wheels they have found this gears. Okay. If there is some projection and recesses in the wheel means that is called as gear. Okay. See, this part is called projection and this groove part is called recess. Okay. This teeth part is called as projection and this groove part is called as recess. So when two or more gears are meshed together to transmit power from one shaft to another, then such combination is called as gear train. Okay. Uh, People they used to call this as gear. Sometimes they used to call this as wheel. For example, here they have given two gears. Okay. Here they have given two gears. Okay. This is driver. This is follower. Otherwise, the bigger one is called as wheel. The smaller one is called as pinion. Do you understand? The bigger gear that is called as wheel, the smaller gear is called as pinion. Okay, this is top view of the gears. So these are the advantages. So advantages of gear it is used to transmit with high velocity ratio. Okay, with a high velocity ratio and very compact. Comparing belt and belt drive, chain drive, gear drive is very compact. But some disadvantages are there, particularly making gear gear and gear train this is somewhat complex. Okay, the manufacturing process is somewhat complex and comparing belt, chain, rope, gear sometimes makes more noise. Okay, these are the disadvantages. So this ratio, this is called gear ratio. Actually here omega will come. Omega 2 divided by omega 1. Omega means angular speed. Okay. Suppose if two gears are messing with each other. For example, this is a wheel, this is a pinion. Okay. This is wheel. The bigger one is wheel. The smaller one is pinion. It is rotating with the angular speed, angular velocity omega 2. And the smaller pinion is rotating with the angular velocity omega 1. Okay. So the speed ratio or gear ratio equal to omega 2 divided by omega 1. Okay. Omega 2 divided by omega 1, which is also equal to n2 divided by n1, which is also equal to d1 divided by d2. See this, speed and diameter are inversely proportional. Speed speed ratio and diameter ratio are inversely proportional. For example, smaller one will rotate higher speed than the bigger one. If you increase the diameter, speed will reduce. Okay, if you increase the diameter, speed will reduce. You know this concept. In cycle, in the cycle, in the front side, in the pedal side, there will be a bigger wheel. In the pedal side, along with the pedal shaft, the bigger wheel will be connected. Okay, but in the rear wheel, smaller pinion will be there. Smaller pinion will be there. Why? Front side is front side gear is bigger one, and the rear side gear is smaller one. What is the purpose? If the wheel are attached along with the pedal, if it goes for one revolution, the rear one, the one which is the pinion which is attached to the wheel, that is that will go for 5 or 6 revolution. Okay, so with the small force you can go in high speed. Okay, that is the purpose of that. Okay, right. So first of all we are going to see the type of gears. Okay, based on the position, based on the peripheral velocity, based on the type of gear. So it is classified based on the position. It is classified into parallel, intersecting, non-intersecting, non-parallel, non-intersecting and non-parallel. Based on the velocity, low velocity gears, medium velocity gears, high velocity gears. Based on the type of gearing, external gearing, internal gearing, rack and pinion. Okay, you might have seen a lot of external gears, but you might not have seen internal gears, but we will see about that also. Okay, based on the position of the axis of shaft. Okay, uh, suppose if they are parallel, if the uh, both axis of the uh, input and output gear both are parallel, means we can classify that into helical gear and double helical gear. Suppose they are intersecting. Okay, here this is parallel, this is intersecting, the axes are intersecting with each other, so that type of gear is called as bevel gear. Okay, they are non-intersecting and non-parallel, they will not intersect with each other, also they are not parallel, means they are called as spiral gear. Example is spiral gear. Okay, example for parallel gear is helical gear. Example for parallel axis gear is helical gear. Example for intersecting, the axis is intersecting. Okay, axis intersecting case is bevel gear. Example for non-parallel and non-intersecting is spiral gear. Okay, so low velocity gear means the velocity value will be less than 3 meter per second, less than 3 meter per second. Medium velocity means the velocity value will be 3 meter per second to 5 meter per second. Okay, high velocity gear means the velocity value will be more than 15 meter per second. Okay, remember, low velocity means velocity will be value will be less than 3 meter per second. Medium velocity will be velocity gear means the velocity value will be 3 meter per second to 5 meter per second. Higher high velocity gear means the velocity value will be more than 15 meter per second. Once again, external gear means teeth will mess outside, we can see that. See, this is external gear, here teeth are missing outside. Okay, so we can see that. But internal gear means, internal gear means, see, inside the drum teeth will be there. Here for wheel teeth will be inside, and for pinion teeth will be outside, that is called internal gears. What the me? Internal gear means, see, here you can see the outer line, no, outer line, it is having teeth inside, it is having teeth inside. Okay, va, it is having like a drum, like drum, you can't see it outside, but inside the drums teeth will be there. Okay, for example, see, here can you see this cap, in the cap inside threads are there, no, inside threads are there, no, in the cap. Similarly, in internal gear, inside teeth will be there, inside teeth will be there. Okay, wow. So on that, see, here you can see teeth outside, no, see, sorry, threads outside, no? Here you can see threads outside. Similarly, the in external gear threads will be sorry, teeth will be outside, and it will mesh like this, it will mesh like this. Okay, actually many machinery components have these kind of gears, but we can't see it, no, because it is inside, we can't see it. Okay, some pumps are there, internal gear pumps are there, In that also similar setups are there. Okay, okay. Last one is rack and pinion. Wait, hold on a minute. Actually, somebody is trying to join now, but I cannot include them because if I include means the presentation will go out. YouTube link later. Okay, now we'll start. Okay, these are some basic types. Okay, based on the axis, whether they are parallel, whether they are intersecting, whether they are non-parallel and non-intersecting. Three categories. Okay, if they are parallel means example is helical gears, single helical, double helical. So for them, the axis will be parallel with each other. Okay, if the axes are intersecting like this means example is bevel gear, and non-intersecting and non-parallel means example is spiral gear. Okay, then based on the velocity, low velocity, medium velocity, high velocity. Okay, less than 3 meter per second means low velocity, 3 to 5 means medium velocity, more than 15 means high velocity. Now here internal, external, rack and pinion. Okay, in rack and pinion, uh, circular motion will be converted into linear motion, otherwise linear motion will be converted into circular motion. Okay, that is the specialty of rack and pinion. In olden days, for in steering gears, steering gear mechanism is there. No, there they have used rack and pinion. If you rotate the steering means in the bottom there will be a rack. Okay, so this steering wheel is attached with the pinion, and this pinion will move the rack leftward and rightward. Okay, by that the wheels will be turned either right side or left side. Okay, in olden days they have used like that. Okay, so similar internal gear and external gear, these are all available in a lot of machinery equipments. Okay, we'll move to next. Materials. What kind of materials they are using? See, nowadays they started to use a lot of materials. Olden days they have used only um, um, iron. Okay, in olden days they have used only cast iron. Okay, because it need more strength. Like it need more. It should be more strength because it is messing with each other. No, so the strength should be more. So they have used cast iron, but now they started to use a lot of materials, uh, like coating. They used to give carbon coatings so that it can withstand more impact impact strength. Okay, will have more impact strength. Okay, so that's what they are given here: cast iron, bronze, steel. Okay, all these things are used based on the application where you are going to use the gear. If you take the watch means even inside the watch gear set is there. Okay, what they are using there, they are using plastics, okay, synthetic resins inside the watches. So based on the application the material usage will be different. Okay, next we'll move to uh, cam nomenclature. Okay, next we'll move to cam nomenclature. uh, Sorry, before that, if you are going to a shop and if you are going to buy a gear means how you can tell and buy the gear. For that they are using some terms. Module value, you have to tell the module value. For example, 0.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5. These are all module value. What may be module? Module means it is the ratio of diameter and teeth, diameter of the wheel and number of teeth on the wheel. Okay, that is diameter of the wheel means, see this diameter, wait here, see inside diameter is there, no, circular hole is there, no, this diameter and number of teeth on it, and diameter based on this. Okay, for example, for this gear diameter means from this point to this point, this point to this point value, that is diameter. Okay, that is circular pitch diameter. and these are all number of teeth. Number of teeth will be counted. You have to tell this ratio. If you tell the ratio means they will give the gear set. Okay. And also sometimes they use circular pitch. Circular pitch means pi into module. Pi into module. Module means d by t. D means diametrical pitch and t means number of teeth. Once again, I have given the classification for parallel, spur gear, helical gear, rack and pinion. Spur gear, it is the simple most gear. It is a very simple most gear. First of all, they have found this spur gear only. Later, based on the application, they started to change the angle of the teeth, and they started to found a lot of gear types, helical gear, like those things. Okay, but first initially they had this simple gears. Okay, here teeth will be this teeth will be parallel to the axis. Teeth will be parallel to the axis. Okay. So one which is driving is driver gear and driven is driven gear. Or this one is wheel and this one is pinion. Okay. Remember the bigger one while solving problem they used to give wheel, like that they used to give. Wheel means bigger one. Smaller one is pinion. Okay. Most of the time they won't mention the word gear. Instead they used to mention like this. Diameter of the wheel is, diameter of the pinion is, like that they used to give. Wheel means bigger one. Pinion means smaller gear. Okay. So where it is used? This is used in electrical screwdriver, oscillating sprinkler. Okay, there this smaller spur gear is used. Okay. Then helical gear. Helical gear means, see the angle. Teeth is having some angle. Okay, a kind of twist. This is called a helical gear. See, helical gear, using helical gears, parallel shaft are connected. Also perpendicular. Here shafts are perpendicular to each other. Axis of the shaft are perpendicular to each other. That also can be connected. Herringbone gear. If two helical gears join together, they look like herringbone gear. If two helical gears, if they join together, they look like a herringbone gear. Why they are using this herringbone gear? To transmit more torque. In some cases, they might have more torque. In those places, they will use this herringbone gears. Okay. See, that's what they given here. Heavy machinery. Used in heavy machinery. Rack and pinion, already I gave you the application. In automobiles, particularly in steering wheels, they use this because circular motion is transferred to linear motion. Okay. Then bevel gears. Bevel gears also used to connect perpendicular shaft. This shaft and this shaft, they are perpendicular to each other. Where you can see this, particularly you can see this in planetary gear setup, in differential gearbox. If you open the differential gearbox, you can see this these kind of gears. Okay, see, I couldn't include some students because I am in presentation mode. If we go out means my system can do some problem. That's why I didn't include them. Please just send a message to your friends. Okay, I will give the YouTube link also. I'm recording this video, so soon I will give the YouTube link that they can see. Okay. Next, worm and worm gears. For reducing the velocity ratio, like 20:1 to 300:1. For large velocity ratio values, these worm gears are used. Okay, to reduce the velocity. For example, if it is rotating like 300 meter per second, it can rotate in 1 meter per second. Like that, we can reduce the velocity value. We can change the velocity value. For that, this worm and worm gear is used. See, it look like worm, no? You have seen earthworm, no? In the earthworm, if it like a tube-like structure and it is having rings around it, no? So this gear is look like a earthworm. So they used to call this is worm gear. So this is called worm gear. Sorry, this is called worm. This is called worm, and this is worm gear. Okay. So this setup is called as worm and worm gear. Right. We will move to next topic. Till now we have seen types of types of gears. Till now we have seen types of gear. Hereafter we are going to see gear nomenclature. Okay. Otherwise, one more term is terminology of gear. Terminology of gear or gear nomenclature. Okay. So if you take a gear means how they are terming it, how the name of the parts are called. Okay. This on the teeth, this top surface, this top surface, this is called top land. This top surface is called top land. See, this is, can you see my arrow? This root, this is called root. Inside, for example, if the gear teeth are like this, means inside this place is called root. They used to call this as root. Also, this surface is called bottom land. This surface is called bottom land, and this is also called as root. Okay. Suppose if two gears are messing with each other like this, means see, the teeth of another gear will fall like this. Okay, it will not go below this place. Suppose if if teeth of another gear is cutting this root, means that is called undercutting. They will not design like that. Okay, that is a problem. Okay, so it will come to up to this place and will go out. That's all. Then another teeth will come inside. Okay, it will not go beyond this place. If it go beyond this place, means that is called undercutting. Undercutting means or interference. Interference or undercutting. Undercutting means it will remove the material. One gear will damage another gear, or this teeth will break down. That is called undercutting or interference. Okay, so they will it will not go beyond this. If another tooth is missing here, means that tooth will not go beyond this point. Okay, right. So this is top land, and this is bottom land, and this place, this curve is there. No, this curve. Can you see this curve? Here a small curve is there. This curved space. This curved space is called flank. That is called flank. And this top curved space. So curved space here, curved space in this place, that is called face. Curved space here is called face, and curved face here is called flank. Okay, right. Next, this bottom circle. Can you saw this? Can you see this bottom circle? This bottom circle, this innermost circle or bottommost circle is called dedendum circle. Dedendum circle, bottommost circle or innermost circle is called dedendum circle. This topmost circle, this topmost circle, this topmost circle is called as addendum circle. Remember this term, dedendum, addendum. We will use this term while solving the problem. So remember this term. So this bottommost circle is called dedendum. Topmost circle is called addendum. Okay. So this is dedendum. This is addendum. This middle circle is called as pitch circle. This middle circle is called as pitch circle. While solving the problem, they will give the radius, they will give the diameter of the pitch circle, and they will give the number of teeth. Based on these two data, we have to solve the problem. If we know number of teeth and the pitch circle value, remember this middle circle. This middle circle is called as pitch circle. Okay, based on the middle circle, that's pitch circle, and based on the number of teeth only, we have to solve the problems. Remember these two values. Okay. So bottom one is dedendum circle, top one is addendum circle, middle circle is called as pitch circle. Okay, so the space between middle circle and the top circle, space between middle circle, that is pitch circle, and the addendum circle is called as addendum. This thickness value is called addendum. Okay, space between pitch circle and addendum circle, that thickness is called as addendum. Space between pitch circle and dedendum circle, this particular space is called as dedendum. Space between pitch circle and bottommost circle, that is dedendum circle, this space is called, this thickness is called as dedendum. Okay, one more thing, one more important value. This circle above dedendum circle, there is one more circle. Above dedendum circle, there is one more circle. Can you see the cursor? Above dedendum circle, there is one more circle. That is called a clearance circle. That is called a clearance circle. I told you, no, if a teeth of another gear is messing with this gear, means the last region that could touch is this clearance circle. If one more teeth, if it go below this clearance teeth, means definitely it will remove the material. Okay, that is the border. Okay, if another teeth is messing with this gear, means the outermost place that it could reach is clearance circle. That's all. Beyond the clearance circle, this teeth should not go. If it go beyond the clearance circle, means it will make interference, otherwise undercut. Okay, so that is the purpose of this clearance circle. Okay, so that's why this space from addendum circle to clearance circle, addendum circle to clearance circle, that space is called working depth. That space is called working depth. Working depth means another gear teeth can come inside and do it work, and it can go outside within this limit. That's all. Another gear teeth, if it come, means it should not cross this limit. If it cross this limit, means it will cut the bottom line. Okay, I hope you understood this nomenclature. These are the important terms: top land, bottom land, face, flank, pitch circle, addendum circle, dedendum circle, and second circle is clearance circle. So this is called working depth. Space between addendum circle and clearance circle is working depth. Space between this clearance circle and dedendum, so this small space is called as clearance. Small space is called as clearance. Suppose if they have asked you to draw the gear nomenclature, means you have to draw this diagram, neat diagram with the pencil. Okay, neat, very neatly draw with the pencil and mention these points: top line, bottom line, flank, then addendum circle, dedendum circle, clearance circle, addendum, dedendum, clearance. Okay, these things should be mentioned. That is enough. Okay, with the space. Okay, I will tell you about that also. Yeah, one more thing is there: circular pitch. Circular pitch means uh, uh, beginning point of one teeth to beginning point of another teeth. For example, this is the beginning point of one teeth. From this place to beginning point of another teeth, that is called circular pitch. For circular pitch, formula is pi into d by t. That is the formula. Pi into module. Module means diameter divided by number of teeth. Pitch circle diameter divided by number of teeth. That is called as module. M, small m. There is symbol small m. I will show you that later. So do you understand? I hope you understood this picture. Okay, these are the important terms. Okay, I'll go to next slide. There it is explained. What I told you, that is explained here. Okay, so circular pitch. Circular pitch means pi into d by t. See, sometimes they use capital N, or sometimes they use N, sometimes they use P. If it is wheel means, for wheel pitch value is pi into capital D divided by capital T. Okay. For pinion, value is otherwise P equal to, listen carefully, pi into M, where M is module. Module is d by T or d by capital T. See, if two gears like this, one gear, one more bigger gear. If two gears mess with each other, the smaller one is pinion, bigger one is wheel. For smaller one, we use small values like this. For bigger one, we use capital values like this. Okay, in the problem, we will solve a lot of problems. Okay, in all the problems, they will give two gears. One smaller gear pinion, bigger gear wheel they give, and we have to solve the problem like this. Okay, va? Remember this words, module, small m. Module means d by t. Pitch, capital P, pi into d by t. Okay, I hope you remember these terms. We will move to next one. So that is explained here. Nomenclature. The diagram is explained here. See, if you take R.S. Kurmi book, Theory of Machines by R.S. Kurmi. Okay, remember the book name, Theory of Machines by R.S. Kurmi. I already gave you in Google Groups. There also you can see this in gear. One unit, they used to give one unit named gear. In that unit, if you take means, there they have given all these things. So here, diametrical pitch. This is circular pitch. Wait, I'll show you. This is circular pitch. Pi d by t is circular pitch. Okay. Small problem. See here, circular pitch, diametrical pitch, all are same, but this dp means d by pi. That is called dp. Okay, so if you substitute this is d by pi. If you substitute this one here, you will get wait. Actually, diametrical pitch means 1 by circular pitch. Okay, diametrical pitch means 1 by circular pitch. Okay. Then module means, see here they are given n, but while solving problems, we use only t, the symbol t. Okay. Okay. And here addendum. In some cases, addendum value will be equal to module value. Okay, in some cases, if they didn't mention anything means you have to take addendum equal to module. Okay, in some cases they will give the addendum value. If they didn't give the addendum value means addendum value equal to module value. That's all. Okay, dedendum value equal to 1.25 of module. If they didn't give addendum value, dedendum value means you have to take this assumption. Addendum value is equal to module and dedendum value equal to dedendum is b. Addendum value equal to 1.25 into module. But in most of the problems, they will give the addendum value. Okay, if they didn't give means you have to take like this. Okay, we'll move to next slide. Same thing is repeated. Few more important problems are there. I'll give the problems here. Later we'll solve the problem. Okay. So first here, gear law. I told you gear law, no? The common normal at the point of contact between a pair of teeth must always pass through the pitch point. This is called law of gearing. The statement which is given in pink is called as law of gearing. They might ask this law of gearing in 2 marks. Okay. So omega 1. Omega 1 means 2 pi n1 divided by 2 pi n2 equal to d2 by d1 equal to here d2 means diameter of the wheel, d1 means diameter of the pinion. That's all. Okay, different terms they are using. N1 means speed of the wheel, N2 means N1 means speed of the pinion, N2 means speed of the wheel. Okay, here the terms used in two are wheel, one is pinion. Otherwise we can write like this: N1 by N2. N means here speed, not number of teeth. N means speed. Yeah, 2 pi n means angular velocity. Omega means angular velocity. Okay. See the relation. Diameter ratio and teeth ratio are directly proportional. Okay, wow. But diameter ratio and speed ratio are indirectly proportional. Here 2 is in the top and 1 is in the bottom. But here 1 is in the top, 2 is in the bottom. Speed ratio and teeth ratio or diameter ratio are indirectly proportional. But the teeth and the diameter, they are directly proportional. Okay. Sorry. One more important formula is there that we will see, and we will finish this class. This is the very important problem. Sorry, very important formula. So first, path of conduct, path of recess. Okay, path of conduct, path of recess. Path of conduct means, see, imagine this is a space between two teeth. Okay, here I have one more gear, and this gear is coming like this and messing with this gear teeth and moving like this and going out. Okay, while coming inside, how much distance it is traveling, that is called a path of conduct. While coming inside, while coming to mat with another gear, how much distance this particular teeth is traveling, that is called a path of conduct or path of approach. It is approaching this teeth. Okay, while going outside, how much distance it is traveling, how much distance this teeth is traveling, that is called path of recess. Okay, path of recess. Okay, so for path of approach, formula is, capital RA square, capital R square, cos square pi. This is coming inside the root. Okay, this minus R sin theta is outside the root. Some students, they used to put everything inside the root. If you put like that, means the formula is wrong. Okay, now let us see what is RA. RA means addendum radius of the wheel. We have diameter of the wheel, no? So this is radius of the wheel. So this is addendum diameter. This is addendum radius. Okay, now do you understand? R means radius. RA means addendum radius. Sir, what is addendum radius, sir? Simply R plus addendum value. In the previous slide, I have shown the addendum value. No, addendum value. Addendum means distance between the circular pitch and addendum circle. Okay, that space, that is addendum value. So that is included here. That's all. Okay. Do you understand? RA means addendum radius. How we can find the addendum radius? Just R plus A. R plus A is called as addendum radius. Okay. So RA square minus R square cos square pi minus R sin theta. Sorry, R sin pi. This pi is pressure angle. This pi is pressure angle. See this angle, pressure angle. Okay, this pi is pressure angle. See, remember this formula. If you remember this one formula, you can solve all the problems because remaining rest of the formulas will be similar to this. See, this is formula for path of approach. Yeah. Next, path of recess. For path of recess, instead of writing capital letter, write small letter. That's all. Instead of writing capital letter, just write a small letter. Small RA square minus R square cos square pi minus R sin pi. Okay. Now, path of conduct. This is path of approach. This is path of recess. See, they are given part of the path of conduct, part of the path of research. Okay, path of conduct, otherwise path of recess. Now, total path of conduct. If you add this two formula, you will get total path of conduct. If you add this two formula, you will get total path of conduct. Okay, add two formulas, you will get total path of conduct. Okay, you have to add both of these things. See, while adding it, sin pi is common, no? That's why they are taken outside. So here they will put capital R plus small r. That's all. Sometimes they will ask you to find out the path of approach, path of recess, and then path of conduct. Means, so first find path of approach, then find path of recess, then add both the answer. For example, here if you get 200 as the answer, here you get 150 and as the answer, means add both the thing. You will get 350. That is the answer for total path of conduct. Okay, wow. So remember this one formula. If you remember this one formula, you can write another formula. From that you can get another one more formula. Okay. Next one, arc of conduct. This is path of conduct. Next one is arc of conduct. Arc of conduct means write this value, write this summation value and divide that by cos pi. Okay. Here, for example, here you got 200, here you got 150. Add both the values, you will get 350. Okay. Here you have to write 350 divided by cos pi. For example, pi is 20 means you have to write 20. And one more thing, this pi value, pressure angle for giving better efficiency, pressure angle will be 14.5 degree to 20 degree. Okay, for giving better efficiency, most of the cases, this value will be 14.5 to 20. While solving problem, in most of the problems, they will give pressure angle as 20 degree only. Okay, yeah, that's why I put 20. Okay. So length of path of conduct divided by cos pi means you will get arc of conduct. Okay, va? One more formula is there, that will see. Circular pitch we have seen pi into m. Okay, ratio of length of circular pitch means pi into m. M means d by t. That already we have seen. M means module. Next, one more formula is there. Wait, I'll show you. Did you write those formulas? I'll give you one more formula. This one. Suppose they didn't give number of teeth. They didn't give number of teeth. Like they didn't give any clue at all. They are telling you to find the number of teeth means for that formula. This is the formula. This is the formula for finding number of teeth. Okay. This is the formula for finding number of teeth. Okay. And one more thing. Suppose they are given a problem. In the problem, they are telling you to check the interference value. They are telling that you have to check the interference value. Sorry, you have to check whether the gears are mating properly or they are intersecting with each other. Like that, they are telling you to find out. How you can find out? Very simple. You just find the path of contact. Path of approach. You just find the path of approach. This path of approach value should be less than, it should be less than the r sin pi divided by 2. This value should be less than r sin pi divided by 2. Otherwise, take path of recess. Take path of recess. This path of recess should be less than the capital R sin pi divided by 2. If it is less than r sin by 2 means it is not intersecting with each other. They are meshing properly. Suppose this value is more than the r sin pi by 2 means they are intersecting with each other. They are intersecting with each other. Okay. Right. With this, I'm going to finish this class. We are going to solve the problem. Okay, I will give you a clue. I will give you a clue. You are going to solve the problem. Okay. Let us read the question first. The pitch circle diameter of the smaller of the two spur wheels which mesh externally and has involute teeth is 100 mm. So they are given the pitch circle value. Pitch circle value is 100 mm. Okay. Pitch circle value is 100 mm. Number of teeth. Small t is 16 mm. Capital T 32 mm. Okay. What is the given? What Dambi? Sorry. Okay. Next, what is they given? They are given that addendum value. Addendum value is 0.32 of pitch circle. That is 0.32 into 100. Circular pitch is 100 mm now. So you will get 32 mm. Okay. What else we have? That's all. Only we pi value. Yeah. Pi value we have 20 degree. That's all. Only we have this value. Now we have to find out what is the question they asked. We have to find out the length of path of contact. Length of path of contact means path of approach plus path of recess. Okay. Path of contact means path of approach plus path of recess. So first I have written the given data. Then what I have to find? I have to find the path of contact that I have written. And now let me write the formula. What is the formula we are going to use? The formula used is RA square plus R square cos square pi plus small RA square minus R square cos square pi minus R plus R sin pi. Okay. Summation of approach plus recess. That's what I have written here. Okay, what are the values we have? We have only small t and capital T value. We don't have the capital RA, capital R, small RA, small r. We don't have those values. We have to find out those values. How we can find out those values? We have pitch value, no? Pitch means okay. So now we have pitch value. If we have the pitch value means using that we can find. Okay. So actually I have put one more video for this solving problem. Anyway, I will give you a clue. You solve. If you have doubt means you see that video. Okay. So pitch value is 100 equal to pi into D by 100 into 32 divided by 3.14. See, we get capital DS 1019. Yeah, no. So capital R will be 1019 divided by 2. The value is 509. Similarly, yeah, RA means capital R plus RA. So that will be like we'll write RA means RA is like 509 plus 32. 509 plus 32 is 511, 541. 541.5. Yeah, 541.5. Similarly, here 100 equal to pi into small d divided by small r. So you will get, sorry, small d divided by small t. Small t value is 16. No? So you will get small d will be around 509.5 mm. If you substitute 16 here means you will get 509. Sorry, what is the value? 16. Yeah, 509 will get. And a small r value you will get 254. 254 mm. And small RA value will be 256. 286. So now we got all the values. Now we got all the values. You just substitute all the values. You will get the answer, final answer. Okay. Just substitute all the values. Let me try it.